Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're really plunging into a big one of America's most, well, enduring and perplexing crime mysteries, the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa.
It's a case that just keeps people guessing, decades later.
Absolutely. We're going to try and unpack the layers, his rise, the power, the theories about his vanishing. We've got a stack of sources here, and we'll pull out the key facts and insights.
And we're talking about Jimmy Hoffa, a huge figure in labor history, former president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, vanish July 30, 1975. Mysterious circumstances, always linked to organized crime. That's the shadow over it all.
Definitely. So let's start with the man himself. He's often called a worker's hero, right? Especially by the Teamsters.
He's legendary to them.
Born back on Valentine's Day, 1913, in Brazil, Indiana. But his early life wasn't easy. Family moved to Detroit in 24 after his father died.
Yeah, and the story goes his father's death was linked to coal mine working conditions. That kind of thing shapes you.
For sure. It seems like it really drove him. He gets into the labor movement pretty young, as a teenager, working warehouse for Kroger.
Right. And get this, by age 19, he's leading a strike. 19. Over poor working conditions. Shows you the kind of leader he was, even then.
Clearly had something special. He joins the Teamsters in 33, climbs the ladder really fast, local president by 37.
And then, boom, 1957, he's the general president.
Yeah.
His rise was, well, meteoric. There's that quote attributed to him from 64. Something about teaching employers the value of a human being.
And his impact, wow, he didn't just talk the talk. He helped build real stability, real strength for America's workforce, grew the union, what was it, over 2.3 million members at its peak.
Huge numbers, just massive influence.
And his biggest win, probably that National Master Freight Agreement in 1964.
Oh, yeah. That was monumental.
Bringing basically all the over-the-road truck drivers under one single agreement, that's immense power. Controlling a vital piece of the economy.
And that power, that's where things get complicated.
Yeah.
Because while he's this worker's hero to so many, he's also making enemies, big enemies, in the government. And he's making friends with some pretty notorious gangsters. The sources are clear. As the union got bigger, so did the mob's influence within it.
That's the dangerous mix, isn't it? That alliance, or maybe entanglement, really set the stage for all the trouble later on.
No doubt.
And trouble definitely came. The 1960s for Hoffa were just relentless legal battles. He was basically always under investigation, on trial, launching appeals, or imprisoned, just constantly under the microscope.
Yeah, the legal pressure was intense. He got hit with some serious charges. In 64, convictions for conspiracy, mail, and wire fraud, all tied to improper use of the Teamsters pension fund.
The pension fund, that was the golden goose, wasn't it?
Seems like it. And separately, he was also convicted for trying to bribe a grand juror. Add it all up, and he got a 13-year aggregate sentence.
13 years.
Yeah.
And those pension funds, the allegations were they were being funneled into mob projects, right? Like Vegas casinos.
That's the story, yeah. Billions of dollars potentially flowing through those funds. It was a huge pot of money, and certain people wanted access.
So 13 years. That sounds like it should have kept him out of the picture for a long while. But then there's a twist.
A big twist. He gets out way early. December 23, 1971. Served less than 5 years.
Wow, why?
President Richard Nixon commuted his sentence.
Okay, but there had to be strings attached, right? You don't just let Jimmy Hoffa walk free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is critical. Nixon's condition was that Hoffa couldn't engage in any union activities until March 6, 1980. Basically keep him out of power.
So the commutation wasn't just mercy, it was a strategic move to sideline him.
You could certainly see it that way. It raises questions about, the politics, the potential influence behind the scenes. But Hoffa, he apparently contended that he had never agreed to that condition.
So he wasn't just going to fade away.
Not a chance. He was determined to fight it. He planned to get back in control of the Teamsters.
And that is where things get really dangerous, because trying to regain power meant pushing back against powerful people who liked things the way they were.
Immense resistance.
Yep.
Opposition from several key mafia figures. See, they'd gotten comfortable with his successor, Frank Fitzsimmons.
The guy Hoffa himself picked, ironically.
Right. And they found Fitzsimmons, let's say, easier to manipulate, easier to deal with regarding the union funds.
So Hoffa wanting back in, that was a direct threat to their setup.
A huge threat. This clash, this fight for control, it's the backdrop for his disappearance. It all leads up to that afternoon.
July 30, 1975, the day he vanished. Let's walk through it. He leaves his home in Lake Orion around 1 p.m.
Heads to the Macca's Red Fox restaurant. Bloomfield Township.
Mm.
Supposed to have a meeting at 2 p.m.
A meeting with who?
Two very significant figures. Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone, a reputed Detroit mob enforcer, and Anthony Coney Provenzano, an alleged New Jersey mob figure.
Romnisano, Tony Pro. They had history, right? Not good history.
Really bad history. Provenzano was a capo in the Genovese crime family. He and Hoffa were allies once, but they had a major falling out in prison. Reports say Tony Pro even threatened Hoffa, like threatened his family. Nasty stuff.
Okay, so Hoffa's waiting for these two guys. What happens next?
Well, 2:15 p.m., he calls his wife, uses a payphone at the restaurant, tells her basically nobody showed up, stood up.
Huh. Then he calls someone else.
Yeah, a friend, Louis Linteau. Complains again the guys are late. Then he tells his wife he'll be home around 4 p.m. Said he'd grill steaks for dinner.
Steaks for dinner.
And that was it, the last known contact. No one saw or heard from Jimmy Hoffa after that.
Chilling. Were there witnesses at the restaurant? Did anyone see him?
Yeah, several people saw him, standing by his car, pacing the parking lot, waiting. The SBI figures he left the parking lot area around 2:04, maybe 2:50 p.m.
And did anyone see him leave with someone?
One witness reported seeing Hoffa in the back of a car, a specific car, a maroon Mercury Marquis, with 3 other people inside.
Okay, whose car was that?
That car belonged to Tony Jack's son, Joseph Giacalone, and it had been borrowed that day by Charles Chucky O'Brien.
Chucky O'Brien. Hoffa's foster son.
The very same. Adds another layer of complexity, doesn't it? Meanwhile, both Giacalone and Provenzano, they denied ever having a meeting scheduled, said they were elsewhere, had alibis.
Of course they did in Hoffa's own car.
Found right there, abandoned in the restaurant parking lot, his green Pontiac Granville. His wife reports him missing the next morning when he doesn't come home.
Okay, so the maroon Mercury, that seems key. Did they find anything in it?
They did. August 21st, 1975, police dogs hit on Hoffa's scent inside that car.
Wow.
And then much later, 2001, DNA technology comes in. They match a hair found in the car back then to DNA from Hoffa's hairbrush.
So he was definitely in that car.
Seems almost certain. But here's another twist. They found no signs of blood or foul play inside the vehicle itself. No physical evidence of a struggle or violence in the car.
Just keeps getting stranger. So the investigation kicks off. What scale are we talking?
Massive. Over 200 FBI agents on the case at one point. They compiled like 70 volumes of files, 16,000 pages.
Incredible effort.
Thousands of tips came in over the years.
Yeah.
Constant media frenzy, but nothing concrete enough.
No charges ever filed.
Never. And nobody recovered. That's the crucial part. He was declared legally dead in 1982, but the mystery, it just deepened.
So what's the FBI's best guess? What does the official theory say?
Well, the most accepted one comes from that Hoffa memo back in January '76. The Bureau concluded Hoffa was murdered at the behest of organized crime figures.
Why?
Because they saw his attempt to regain power in the Teamsters as a direct threat, a threat to their control, especially over that huge pension fund. And maybe they also worried he might eventually testify against them, flip on them.
Okay, so who specifically does that theory point to? Who ordered it? Who carried it out?
The general belief points towards Russell Bufalino, a powerful mob boss, as the one who likely ordered the hit.
Bufalino, okay. And the guys on the ground, the ones who allegedly lured him away.
The names that always come up are Salvatore Sally Bugs Briguglio. He's often suspected as the actual trigger man. His brother, Gabriel Briguglio, Thomas Andretta Endedia. Chucky O'Brien.
Chucky O'Brien again. Hoffa's foster son. How does he fit in? Was he in on it?
That's a huge question mark. One theory is that he was maybe an unwitting dupe, used because Hoffa would trust him, feel safe getting into a car with him.
Makes sense. Hoffa wouldn't suspect his own foster son.
But then some investigators, like Keith Corbett, they thought O'Brien was maybe too unreliable, too much of a known quantity for such a sensitive job. They suggested maybe someone like Vito Billy Giacalone, Tony Jack's brother, might have been the familiar face used to lure Hoffa.
It just shows the complex relationships, the potential for betrayal.
Absolutely. Trust and betrayal are right at the heart of this.
And the body, where did the theories about that are just wild. They've looked everywhere, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. The most famous one probably was Giant Stadium in New Jersey.
Right. Buried under the end zone or something.
Yeah. Exactly. Total myth, basically. The FBI checked it out, found nothing, and when they tore the stadium down in 2010, confirmed no Hoffa.
So where else? They dug up places in Michigan.
Several times. Tips led them to a horse farm in Milford Township in 2006, a field in Oakland Township in 2013, They even dug under a suburban Detroit driveway in 2012.
Yeah.
Nothing. Empty holes.
What about that Detroit house, the one linked to Frank Sheeran's confession, the I heard you paint houses guy?
Yeah, they searched that house in 2004, found some blood stains under the floorboards, but DNA tests showed it wasn't Hoffa's blood. Another dead end.
So what's the most plausible theory among investigators, the ones who study this stuff?
A lot of the mobologists and investigators think the most practical scenario is he was killed fairly quickly, right there in the Detroit area.
And the body disposed of quickly.
Yeah. The theories often involve, like, a chemical disposal, dissolved in an acid vat at some industrial site, or maybe even run through a cardboard shredder or something similar. Makes sense in a grim way why risk transporting a body hundreds of miles?
Still, that didn't stop them looking in New Jersey again recently, right?
Nope. The latest big search was 2021 into 2022, under the Pulaski Skyway in Jersey City.
What led them there?
A deathbed confession, apparently. A landfill worker's son claimed his father told him he buried Hoffa there in a steel drum years ago.
And did they find anything this time?
The FBI dug, they scanned, but ultimately found nothing of evidentiary value. Another search, another disappointment.
So after all this time, all these searches, all these theories, where does the case officially stand?
It's kind of in limbo. An FBI agent in charge in Detroit said way back in 1989 something like, I'm comfortable I know who did it, but it's never going to be prosecuted because we would have to divulge informants, confidential sources, protecting sources over making a case they probably couldn't win without them.
So the case file is technically still open?
It's considered inactive but not closed.
Yeah.
Still there, just gathering dust unless something major breaks.
Wow. So there we have it, a deep dive into Jimmy Hoffa, a story that's just so complex. Dedication to workers on one side, deep, undeniable ties to organized crime on the other.
And his disappearance. It remains one of America's great obsessions, a true crime riddle for the ages.
Yeah, it really is.
And you see it reflected in pop culture constantly. That movie Hoffa in '92, Scorsese's The Irishman more recently.
Yeah.
The story just keeps being told, retold, reinterpreted.
Yeah.
It's cemented as this iconic mystery.
It really is. So the question for you listening is, what stands out most? How easily someone so powerful could just vanish? The shadow it casts even now.
Or maybe it's how much information can be out there, files, theories, witnesses, and yet the absolute core truth, the final pieces of the puzzle, can stay hidden. Maybe forever. Makes you think.